In the future, money won't buy happiness. It will buy oxygen. This is not a movie. This is a warning. 2090 Air Tax, only on Curiosphere.
All right, welcome. Today we're diving into a story that's, well, it's pretty chilling. Imagine a world not too far from now, we're talking 2090, where the most basic thing you do, breathing, comes with a monthly bill. So, let's get into this story and figure out what it's really trying to say.
Right off the bat, the story hits you with this line, and it tells you everything you need to know. This isn't a story about the planet dying, it's about us failing. The real crisis here wasn't a lack of oxygen. It was a lack of, well, humanity.
And that really brings us to the core question of this whole world. I mean, if air is just another product you buy, what happens if you can't afford it? What's the penalty for a late payment? The answer is exactly as simple and as horrifying as you can imagine.
So, how on earth does a world get to this point? The story doesn't just drop us in, it shows us how it happened. It was this slow, creeping takeover. Governments started to crumble, and in that power vacuum, you guessed it, corporations stepped right in.
Yeah, this didn't happen overnight. It was a classic slow burn. For decades, nobody took care of the planet, and eventually governments they couldn't handle the strain anymore. They fell apart. And who was there to save the day? These mega corporations, rolling out this incredible technology that honestly probably looked like a miracle at first.
So, who's in charge now? Not governments. The new bosses are called the Mega Atmos corporations. They market themselves as the saviors of humanity. You know, they build these gigantic oxygen towers that clean the air for everyone. But of course, this gift, it isn't free. This gift of life comes with a price tag, a very real monthly bill.
So what happens when you turn something essential, like air, into a product? Well, you get a brand new and totally brutal class system. People aren't split up by how much money they have in the bank. Not really. They're divided by whether or not they can afford to take their next clean breath.
This new society basically breaks down into three groups. You've got the top tier, Class A, the breathers. They're living the high life in these private domes with perfect air. Then there's the middle class, Class B, the survivors. They get by, but they have to wear masks, and their air literally gets shut off at night. And then there's the bottom, Class C, the suffocators. No subscription, they're just left outside in the toxic zone.
I mean, the difference between the top and the bottom is just stark. For the rich, it's literally a paradise. They're breathing in luxury oxygen, scented with things like pine and rain. But for everyone else, life is a slow, painful process of decay out in the toxic streets. And you realize that the cruelty here, it's not a mistake in the system, it is the system.
It's one thing to talk about these big systems, right? But the story really makes it personal by focusing on one man, Elias Carter. He's just a regular guy trapped in all this, and he's about to pay the ultimate price.
Elias isn't some kind of action hero or a revolutionary. He's just a dad, a former school teacher, now a Class C citizen just trying to get by in this impossible world.
And this number, 7, it's everything to his story, because that's how old his daughter Luna was. She was born into this. This was the only world she ever knew.
And one day she asked him this question that just shatters you. Papa, why does breathing hurt? I mean, what do you even say to that? How do you explain to your child that the very act of breathing is supposed to hurt? This system turned the most natural thing in the world into pain?
And then, that same night, her mask, it breaks. He can't get help. Why? Because emergency air is a premium service he can't afford. She doesn't make it. And the official cause of death on the certificate? It's the coldest, most soulless thing you can imagine. It just says, cause, subscription expired.
Losing his daughter like that, it just changes everything for him. This grief pushes him to start digging, to find answers. And what he uncovers is a lie, a massive lie that their entire world is built on.
So this becomes his obsession. Was all of this really necessary? Was the air really so bad that they needed this system? Or was the whole thing a setup?
He manages to hack into some old archives, and there it is, the horrifying truth. Turns out the planet was actually healing. The air wasn't scarce. It wasn't even close. The corporations were deliberately keeping it toxic, and the reason is sickeningly simple. A fake shortage was incredibly profitable. But more than that, it was the perfect way to control everyone.
So,
The motive? Why do all this? It's the most cynical thing you can think of. Fear makes people compliant. And what's more terrifying than the thought of not being able to breathe?
So Elias knows the truth now. This devastating, world-shattering truth. And he decides he has to do something. He plans one last act. Not an attack, not violence, but a broadcast. A moment of pure truth.
He finds a way to hijack an old satellite feed. He only gets 90 seconds. That's it. A minute and a half to try and wake up an entire world.
And in those 90 seconds, he doesn't scream or yell. He just quietly reads the names of the dead. People like his daughter Luna, who died because they couldn't afford to live. And he ends it all with this one simple, powerful sentence.
Of course, they cut him off. He's arrested immediately, but it's too late. The damage is done. The spark is lit. And then something amazing happens. In a quiet, powerful act of protest, people all over the cities just start taking off their masks. They decide to breathe whatever is out there, together, to breathe it for free.
And this brings us to the story's final point, kind of reframing the whole thing. The real betrayal here, it wasn't the planet failing us, it was us failing each other. This was never really about the environment, it was about humanity.
And that's really the gut punch of the whole story, isn't it? It's not just some far-off sci-fi tale. It's meant to be a mirror. It's asking us to look at our own world, right now, and think really hard about what happens when we start to commodify the things that should belong to everyone, by right.
So that's where the story leaves us, with a question. The whole story of 2090, it's a warning. Right now, today, our air is free. We still have time. So the question it forces us to ask is pretty profound. Seeing this reflection in the mirror, what are we going to do with the time we have left?